Good evening, everyone. I want to introduce you to Savanna Greywind. This is part 3 of the series. This might be part 1, and then I might have a part 2, because you know TikTok only allows you 10 minutes. So I want to go ahead and introduce you to Savanna. This is Savanna. Isn't she absolutely gorgeous? She was born on August 9th of 1995. She passed away in August of 2017, and she was a resident of Fargo, North Dakota. Now, I was going to go a different direction with this, but when I started researching what I wanted to do, I came across something and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I remember this case. I remember bits and pieces of it. So, Savanna was 8 months pregnant at the time of her passing. 8 months pregnant. I'm not going to go into great details of the gruesome murder because it's actually very, very disgusting and sick. How she passed away. So let me go ahead and just give like a little bit of a backstory. I think I saw her case on either 2020, 48 Hours, or Dateline. It's one of those. And I remember how the family, and oh, it just breaks your heart. So at the time of her death, she was with the baby's daddy, her boyfriend. So, all right. So this is Brooke Cruz. This is the person that murdered Savanna. Savanna's murder was a little bit different than the series that I'm going on, Missing and Murdered, in the Native American communities, because Savanna was living in an apartment community there in Fargo. So she did have the access of regular patrol officers and law enforcement and so forth as well. And of course you can see that Brooke is not Native American. Yeah, so all right, here goes what Brooke did to Savanna. So Savanna and Brooke, I think Savanna did a few sewing projects helping out Brooke. I don't know exactly what the sewing projects were, but she was paying Savanna to come over and help her with some sewing projects. And Brooke, made it sound pretty good, not knowing that Brooke's intention was she wanted the baby. So Savanna was excited and everything else because she was making some extra money for the baby's arrival. So Brooke calls her on the day in August and states, hey, can you come over and help me with a sewing project? Savanna's like, yeah, no problem. Oh, it won't take very long at all. So, you know as well as I do, one of your neighbors calls you and says, hey, can you come help me with something real quick? You just go over there and leave all your stuff there because you're like, oh, it's only going to take me like 5 minutes and then I'll be right back. This wasn't the case. No one knew where Savanna was and what happened to her. So, there was some sort of scuffle that happened, and Savanna ended up hitting her head apparently, and she was still alive, and Brooke went and performed a C-section on her with no pain medication, no nothing. And Brooke did this while Savanna was alive. Savanna felt the pain of the cut. Savanna, no doubt, felt the ripping of the baby coming out of her abdomen. Can you imagine feeling what Savanna was feeling at the time, and helpless and couldn't do anything? So Brooke took the baby, put the baby in the bathtub, somehow got Savanna's up and went and threw her like a piece of trash out in the middle of nowhere or somewhere like that. So the family for 8 days did not know what was going on. They had did some missing posters. They were trying to get media attention and so forth and get investigators on it. And believe it or not, it did cause a little bit of media attention. Now, I don't remember knowing about her missing, but I guess in the area there, it was a focus on trying to find her. So, from my understanding, investigators were questioning family, friends, neighbors and so forth knew that Brooke didn't have a baby, and this was a newborn baby and so forth. So Brooke was taken into custody, and as time goes on, she ended up taking a plea so she would not face the death penalty for the murder of Savanna. So you're going to ask, did the baby survive? Yes, the baby ended up surviving and is a healthy, I think she's like maybe 8 years old now, maybe. And there are photographs of the child in front of her mother's grave. I'm not going to post that on here because I don't agree with anything to do with minor children. But it will break your heart if you go and find it. It's out there. So this piece of crap ended up murdering a innocent woman when she was doing something kind. Yes, pretty sad, isn't it? So she got what she deserved, and life in prison with no parole. She will never get out, and that's the way that it should be. Now I'm going to go into the focus of why I kind of went this direction. Out of this tragedy, Savanna's Act was signed into law on October 10th of 2020. Again, she was 22 years old at the time of her death. Now, some people will say that she received some of the media coverage and stuff because she wasn't on tribal land. Did she receive enough coverage? Absolutely not. 8 days, the family was struggling, trying to get some sort of coverage and so forth. And that's where a lot of people are standing up and saying there is a problem here. Even though she wasn't on tribal ground, she still is Native American. She still did not get the coverage that she needed for them to find her. But Savanna is one of the 117 cases that has been resolved. Out of the number that I gave you guys, over 5,000 and something, Savanna was one of them that was resolved, and the family was able to put their daughter to rest. They were able to have closure and so forth. Even though the death of someone, you really don't receive closure, but you feel better knowing where your loved one is. So here is the law that went into effect as Savanna's Act. And here's the fact sheet about it. You can read it and take a look at it. This red handprint represents a race that seems to be irrelevant in the media coverage, in the government, and so forth. This handprint represents the silence and the epidemic that is going on in our country and in Canada. This red handprint represents the missing and the murdered of Native American women and girls. This red handprint represents so much to so many, but yet so silent. There's so many people out here that do not understand that this is going on in our country. That they don't understand that this is going on in Canada. That this race has taken a back burner way below all of the races. So the Secretary of the Department of Interior has this quote here. You can go ahead and read it. This quote here this is my opinion and my opinion alone. There was coverage back in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, some in 22, about the missing and murdered. Not a whole lot of coverage, but there is some coverage. But somehow, this person says that we can't turn back. Well, you have put stuff into place, but it's still not helping the system. it's still not helping the families of the missing and the murdered. And like I stated before, the families do not know if they're missing or are they murdered, and they just don't know. They have no idea. When that phone rings, they don't know if that's going to be the call that's going to come through that they have been dreading this whole time. This is an epidemic in our country. And to sit here and say any differently is absolutely insane to me. I hope that anything that comes out of all of this is that people are aware. The next person that goes missing that has media coverage and stuff, yes, that person absolutely deserves to have media coverage, but so do other ones too. If you're going to treat one the one way, you need to treat everybody the same way. And see, people don't like that about me because I feel like you should be fair to everyone. Everyone has the same right as I do, or you do, or he does, or she does. Everyone deserves a chance, regardless if you feel they deserve it or not. It is not up for me. It is not up to you. It's not up to anybody to make any type of judgments on anyone for anything. See, I want to use my voice for many different things on my platform. I want to use my voice to let people know this is what awareness is about. This is bringing some sort of awareness that there is an epidemic in our country and in Canada, that these families have no answers, and I want to know the reason why. I want to know why any family in this country has to sit back and just accept it. It's unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable for other people. It's not right, and it's not fair. So I hope everyone has a wonderful night, and I hope that this has brought some sort of message to anyone that needs it, that needs to know that the more that we spread about what the red handprint means, the more we can educate people that no one should be silent. No one should be silent. No one should be silent.